Action! What's up guys, I'm Windsurf Pro.
And I'm Average Joe.
And welcome back to Secrets of the Sand. What are we doing this week, Taylor?
Well Alex, this week we're going to be breaking down one of the biggest, most awesomest, sickest, coolest to try moves in the trick book, the backflip.
And trust me, it is a lot easier than it looks. So, Taylor, how exactly would you describe the backflip?
The backflip is when you take your Average Joe and you strap a board to their feet and then you spin them around the gymnast parallel bars and then they loop.
As we said, the backflip is not as hard as it looks. And we actually learned it from the Duotone Academy app. So we're going to show you guys that resource and show you exactly where we got our first steps. If we go into the Duotone Academy app, we'll go into the jumping section and scroll all the way down to the bottom where we can find the backflip. When we tap into the backflip, we're going to scroll down to see the first things that they tell us to keep in mind. Step 1, choose a kicker and pop. Step 2, throw your head and wing back. Step 3, open the wing. And step 4, lift your wing out. Now with those tips in mind, we're going to take it to the water and we're going to start spinning around those bars. This move is so much fun and it is so easy once you get it. You can probably do it in your sleep.
When you know how to do the move, when you know the big points to focus on, it's neither scary nor dangerous. But if you're trying it with whatever you think is gonna work, it can be really scary.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So now we're going to show you guys 3 moves from our sessions, going for the backflip, one that we consider good, one bad, and one ugly.
We generally break down moves into 3 categories: the takeoff, the midair, and the landing. A good clip is going to nail all 3 of those spot on. A bad clip is going to miss 1 or 2 of those elements, and an ugly clip,
you'll know. Before we get into the good clips, there's one thing that we need to do. Over here we have our good friend, Juliencito. Hey. I have one question for you. Where's your clips?
I don't know, somewhere.
Send us your clips.
Immediately on the takeoff, you can see probably one of the most important aspects when going for this move we found was to make sure that you are throwing that wing back. And I mean like way back there.
I feel like when I'm initiating the trick, the first thing that goes through my mind, sometimes the only thing that goes through my mind, is throw your arms and your head back.
Would you say that you're throwing it back as you're popping or after you're popping?
Hopefully a little bit after.
For me, I'm personally throwing it back like kind of all at once.
Yeah,
so it's like one motion. In the midair, as I'm approaching the apex, you can see that I start to pull in on the wing just a little bit. And that motion of pulling in on the wing, imagine you are spinning around a bar, like on a playground. When you're going over the top, you are pulling your lower body over. I am doing a very slight pull that just helps initiate the rotation going over.
It's a dog.
Hi, Coco.
Oh, there's 2 dogs.
Hi, Coco. Come here, Coco.
Hi, other dog. If you do this technique where you pull yourself around by really engaging, getting your hips up by pulling, it rotates so fast that you might actually experience going for 1.5 backflips. Send it hard enough.
Done it many times.
Yeah.
It's also important to mention that when you're going around the spin, if you are spinning too fast and you're still too high, you can slow it down by straightening your body as well.
Yeah.
And like straightening your legs. That'll slow down the rotation so you can come down in a more controlled manner. When you can see the water, the next step that you're going to want to do is to make sure that you lift that wing like hell. Because you're going to be looking straight down at the water and you're going to be like, oh crap. And you're going to push the wing through and lift it up like this. For the landing, one important thing when you're lifting the wing, it's important to not just lift the wing, but it's also important where you're placing it as you're lifting it. Because if you're lifting it straight in front of you, the wing is going to stay neutral and it won't power up, so then your landing is entirely based on just your balance. If you're able to lift it kind of to the side, to the position where the wing can power up as you're coming down, it'll allow you to land so much easier, and we've had many planing backflips where you just land and are immediately back on foil because the wing is powered up before we're landing. Immediately watching the whole thing I think the biggest thing that we can see that went wrong here is on the landing, and specifically what we were just talking about on the good clip about the position of where you're lifting your wing to. Here you can see that Taylor is lifting his wing and pushing it straight in front of him, and the wing stays in this neutral position where it never powers up, which is why when he lands, it drops to the water and he falls on it. It acts like a brake.
So what takes you from doing this into an air brake into that with a ride away? What's going to be that difference?
So I think the biggest thing is just going to be all about where you lift the wing. If you lift the wing straight in front of your face, it's going to stay as that shield position.
Right.
But if you lift it to the downwind side of your head, now the wing is on your side.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, we need to get it from flat to powered.
Exactly. Surprise! 2 bad clips this week.
Whoa.
Why would we do that?
The first one shows one of the big problems you're going to run into with this move, and that's when you come up, your wing is going to act as a brake instead of pulling you forward and letting you ride out. But the other problem that you're going to run into is if you go too far upwind. So we're thinking now not about the landing, but about the takeoff.
One thing that the Duotone Academy app mentions specifically is choosing a kicker for your backflip. We're not always going to be gifted with the gift of a kicker. So when you do get one, it can be really, really, really enticing to try and go for it. But if they're coming from an upwind position, you're going to be sending your backflips upwind, and you're going to see the problem here about what happens. So in this one, it got like super gnarly backwinding just because I was going upwind. When I was pushing the wing up, even though you can see that I'm lifting it to my side, just because of the angle of rotation is pointing upwind, it's impossible for that wing to really get to the other side because it's already powered up on one side as I was coming around. Use kickers, yes, but don't go too far upwind. Generally, we try to stick between straight across the wind to like downwind or even just slightly upwind, but the farther upwind you're gonna go for your backflip, the more of this whip you're gonna get. And that's just what went wrong on this. Awful.
Everything. So let's break it down. What went wrong here?
What went wrong here can go wrong in almost every move that you try. And it's simply a matter of timing when you push your legs and the jump itself. Because here, the reason you lost your strap is because you actually pushed slightly after the board left the water.
Yeah.
You can see your legs extend as the front wing is already out of the water. So it's really such a small like timing thing, but it leads to stuff like this.
Yeah, no, totally. Would you go forward? And so I lose my back strap, which is super scary because the board is hinging with my front foot still in the strap, rotating the whole weight of that.
I mean, if you were to just ignore that fact, you also didn't lift the wing up. So like, you see, you just held it here, so that's why you landed on it. But I feel like you didn't lift it just because you were losing the board.
I was in survival mode more than send mode.
Anyway,
but yeah.
So Taylor, what would you say some of our big takeaways from learning the backflip are?
And the first thing you're gonna do right as you initiate your pop is gonna be throw your arms and your head backwards.
I think the second most important thing is once that wing is behind you, you're gonna be pulling your hips over that imaginary bar, like you're pulling yourself over a bar.
Once you initiate the pull to bring your hips over, you want to tuck your knees in and compress so that the whole rotation goes super, super quick.
I would say the last thing is probably when you're pulling the wing up and through the rotation, you don't just want to pull it up, you also want to pull it to that downwind side and make sure that you lift that front hand up. So that's the backflip. It's not that hard.
No. This is one of the coolest moves. It's so much fun.
It's just so much fun. Okay, we encourage that you go try it, and if you land it, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
If you guys have been enjoying the content and you feel like you've been learning something, make sure to hit that like button.
And as always, this has been Secrets of the Sand. We'll see you guys next time.